If you're anything like me, you refuse to be held back not by time, not by expectations, and not by needlessly throwing money away into the pockets of big wireless. Thankfully, there's a better way with Consumer Cellular. Consumer Cellular offers the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as big wireless without the big wireless cost. And they don't surprise you with hidden fees or confusing long-term contracts. For a limited time, you can sign up for Consumer Cellular and save $50 with promo code TED50.
Visit consumercellular.com/TED50 or call 1-888-FREEDOM and mention promo code TED50.
Terms and conditions apply.
You have defied aging. Do you think it has to do like vegetarianism, yoga, exercise? What's your secret? I'll do it. I'll start eating meat, whatever you're doing. I'm going to do it.
Well, I will say I did start eating meat recently, which is, and I think this is...
Dax got you into the meat,
Let me tell you something.
God damn it.
I have readily admitted that I have Stockholm Syndrome for him, and I'll do anything that he tells me. No, I mean, I was a very happy vegetarian for 30 years. I started when I was 11. I stopped when I was 41. And I don't know why. It came about randomly and in small increments. And now I will do it once in a while. Although I do find I call myself an ethical carnivore. I pay attention to where it comes from and how it's harvested and to try to avoid factory farming. All the things that just help me sleep at night personally. I will say one thing that's pretty consistent in my life is that I try everything for wellness. I'm like a wellness junkie. And so I'm learning about heat shock proteins and trying to go in a sauna, and I take different supplements, and I'm thinking about do I stretch before or after the workout? Like, I guess body and health awareness is very high on my list, as is like neuroscience. I love reading science books, and a lot of the neuroscience is directed toward longevity. So maybe I'm doing things that are helping me, or maybe it's just my DNA. I don't know.
Do you? I find that I'm not in touch with my emotional life as much as my body is. So my body will hurt, and it'll be, I see. I'm scared, or I'm angry, or something.
You do that? You'll suppress your emotions.
Yeah.
And your body
not
is
even
like
suppress it.
Not suppress.
Yes.
Oh.
You think everything's fine, and then your body's like, it's not. Body Keeps the Score. Did you read that book? Woof.
No.
One of the best that I've ever read. And it's all about, it's the guy who wrote it was the one that put PTSD into the DSM, like into the medical field.
What's DSM?
The Diagnostic System of Statistical Manual.
Whoa.
It's the...
Wow. Okay. We're dealing with a lot of smart, but go on.
This is good to fact check, though, because I say a lot of stuff that doesn't check out. So you got to thank you.
Did I meet you years ago with Shauna Robertson?
I'm sure at some
a party somewhere.
I'm sure, maybe.
No.
Yeah, no. I have almost no memory of party interactions. I kind of disassociate because I get nervous in big crowds. So probably, but it's one of those things where clearly I've seen your stuff. So I'm like, well, have we met in human form, or has it just been through the airwaves?
Airwaves, man.
Well, you're in for a treat.
Two-dimensional.
Kristen Bell.
Is it a good one?
Magnificent Beast.
Oh,
I've heard that from everyone. Also, we were absolutely obliterated by Triangle of Sadness this year. I watched it twice, and I was just beside myself at the metaphors, and I could not get enough. And when you guys were on that mic and the boat was sinking, I was laughing so hard. Edward, as you know with me, I'm like the most nonlinear person ever. My words and ideas come out like fireworks. So
but
try
you know
to
what
keep
you
up.
did for the 4 years that we worked together, plus the movie. Well, not so much the movie we did, but
you mean the show?
Kristen Bell.
We also did a movie together where I super fanned him, and it was a little much.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a little much.
I still have you in my phone as Arthur Frobisher.
Yeah, I love that.
From Damages, my favorite show ever.
Yeah, but you would take care of me. You literally kind of made me an honorary father or something. You ended up always, you'd look at me at the end of the day and you'd come over and just rub my back, and she really literally took care of me during those 4 years.
My father and my baby. Because I know you're
Works for me.
sensitive. I know you're sensitive on
I
your
am.
spine to energy vampires.
Did I tell you that story?
I know
That's
it, 'cause you-
there are energy vampires that.
I got some energy vampires in my life, but what do you mean?
I mean, don't let them touch your fucking spine. Literally. There are
Really?
people, because that's where you have your energy. And I'm not talking silly vampire-looking people. I just mean people who know enough that you can drain people's
Oh.
energy.
Someone
You mean
comes
they
up and
can-
goes, "Hey, what's up? How are you?" And he turns into one of Ursula's plants in The Little Mermaid. Just like,
Yeah.
so you got to give it, and I can push it out. I'm the opposite of an energy vampire. I know that I can fill him up, so I'll come up
Yeah.
and just say, "How you doing, buddy?"
But then does that drain your energy?
Slightly, but I'm so caffeinated.
You got a lot of.
So I drain
caffeinated.
your
Yeah,
energies.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I drained your
No.
energy. Oh,
I voluntarily gave you some because
you did.
I love you.
You see how he takes a thing and he'll turn it around and he'll make
Yeah.
it like self-deprecating toward
course.
himself.
Yeah,
That's not the way to be, T.
Mm-mm.
Let's shift that.
Okay, sorry. Mary said, stop the self-deprecation.
Self-deprecation.
No one believes it, and she's right.
And by the way, like there's got to be 99% of this planet would love to be Ted Danson.
Yeah, and I know it.
I'm going to go ahead and say 100. 100%.
Yeah, it's false. It's false humility. I got that from my mom. It's bullshit. It makes the people around you work harder. And when you're pretending to be self-deprecating, the truth is you have an ego the size of an elephant.
It's like you got a little lure in the water, and it's just that's the self-deprecation. And once someone gets a hold of that, bing, they're going to pay you a compliment.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank you.
Like
Just
I
like
want
you
to
just
say,
did.
you're a great guy.
Yeah.
You're an incredible guy.
Okay.
Anyway, back to her.
Back to you and some of your flaws.
Okay.
Give me a flaw, because you seem perfect to me. You really, truly do.
No.
I know. She really does.
No. I mean, you worked with me. I can get snappy. I'm allergic to two things: penicillin and inefficiency.
Yeah.
And if you're on my set
Yes.
and you're all scattywampus about what your job is, there's gonna be some attitude. And you saw it.
I got some of it every once in a while because of that exact. I knew you loved me, but I knew I better not fuck around with you getting home to your kids.
Bingo.
Were you being scattywampus or
I
what?
was, which is hard for me, but I was.
Well, it was not, no, because you always came very prepared. You were very, very prepared. But it was sometimes, one of my flaws is that I have a tendency to think lightning fast in regards to blocking or the setup of a specific scene. And so when some people maybe want to work through it and I think, well, look, like we're not doing Life is Beautiful, like just stand there and so I'll definitely be arrogant enough to grab Ted's arm and just go, no, he's just saying, stop talking to him. He's just saying walk over here and then sit down on the word the. And then Ted will go, oh, okay, and put his hands up. And
I love that.
I want to be, I want you to go matriarchal with me too.
Okay, I will.
I'm doing anything scattywampus. I want you to just go total.
I'm really good at seeing how many lanes are in the highway and just making sure everyone is there. So
I'll give you another one.
Off.
Another one I noticed about you. I love you so much,
I love
by
you
the
so
way.
much.
This is so sweet to be able to hang with you and share you with Woody. So I learned very quickly not to approach you before you were halfway through your hair and makeup because it was like a different person.
Yeah. I don't talk to people before double digits.
I mean, that's a literal.
I'm not interested. I have nothing to exchange with you before 10 a.m. I truly,
right. So like 9:45, don't even bother.
No, don't.
We're inching towards a sense. Yes, transitioning at 9:45. But I have a lot of trouble waking up in the mornings, and I'm trying not to Again, my ego is like, oh, I'm such an enigma. I'm the only person on earth who can't wake up. I'm trying not to do that, but it is really, really hard for me to even be nice to anyone, myself, my kids. And I've even told my kids, hey, before you see this touch my mouth, don't talk to me. I'm holding a coffee thermos. Before this is here, don't. And because I'm trying to set some boundaries that will protect everyone, I guess, even though what I should say is I need to either wake up earlier or figure out a system where I'm not crabby. But yeah, I walk from my car to hair and makeup in the morning. And all I'm thinking is, if anybody fucking says hello to me, I swear to God, I'm going to say exactly what I'm thinking. I'm going to say, you know what, Dan? I'm fine. I'm exactly like I was 9 hours ago when you saw me last. Same.
And I only answered that once, and that was what you said.
Right.
Ted, I saw you 10 hours ago. We don't need to do how are you again. And I become this completely different person. And then I caffeinate myself and I wake up and I'm fine. But I've been cold plunging in the morning recently.
Oh, that's different then.
But
I'll bet.
You start with a sauna or you go straight to the cold?
In the morning, straight to the cold. And I will say it changes my mood. I'm not as crabby. Like if I can get up and I walk is a loose term. I stumble downstairs. My eyes are blurry for the first 5 minutes. I truly hibernate every night. So that's a major fault of mine is mornings are not my thing.
I'm the opposite. I walk into sets babbling.
I know.
By the way, she had her makeup. Her makeup chair was separated from the riffraff, meaning me and the rest of the cast.
Just for their own
for a
safety.
good reason.
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
it now.
yeah.
I get it.
Can't do it.
Saved some lives.
Now she's going to have up next to her makeup chair, she'll have just an ice bath.
Mm-hmm.
She'll plunge in that, then in the chair.
Get out and go, morning, Ted.
Why make life harder than it needs to be? With Consumer Cellular, you get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as big wireless, but without the cost of big wireless. And switching is easy. And I'm talking to you, Nick, because pretty soon you're going to be switching because these commercials I'm reading are going to convince you to do it. I guarantee it.
I feel myself being convinced.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Consumer Cellular is here to serve you with an award-winning team of real human people based entirely in the U.S. There are no activation fees, no hidden costs, and no long-term contracts. They even have partnerships with AARP, USAA, Assurion, and Allstate Roadside Assistance.
Ted, I know you made the switch recently to Consumer Cellular.
I did.
How's the service been since switching?
I can tell you I put it into a test because I live in a canyon and service is, usually drops out like mad. And I haven't had any dropouts. So that's pretty cool.
That's a good stress test, being in a canyon.
Yeah.
Like literally canyon?
Literally.
You're at the bottom of this huge.
Well, I'm not huge, but, big enough to... Are you trying to get me to tell you where I live?
Can you post the address on the screen? Let's get Ted's address up there.
For a limited time, you can sign up with Consumer Cellular and save $50 with promo code TED50.
Visit consumercellular.com/TED50 or call 1-888-FREEDOM and mention promo code TED50.
Terms and conditions apply. You told me once that scheduling was the secret to you being able to do so many things in your life. And I'm not fluffing up. You do so many things, including raising two amazing daughters, being home for dinner with them, and then you have a million charities, you have a million businesses, and you have your own, acting gig. And you said, when I couldn't believe that you could pull that off, it's all about scheduling. Mm-hmm. Anything more on that, or is that just... was that it?
I still believe that because I think, I can admit that I thrive a little bit in that chaos, like the idea. And that's why I'm all up in the AD's business when I'm on set. Like that, if the ADs schedule the day and tell everybody basically where they're supposed to be so a film or television set can operate. And I'm all up in their business because my brain just sees 5-minute increments throughout the whole day. And so if I can get the most impeccable family calendar and the most impeccable work calendar, and then what I've also tried to learn to do over the last 10 years is delegate when I don't have to be involved in something. And I really think that mathematical problem allows me to stay efficient and get a lot done. Because the thing is, I'm like a little jackrabbit. I see a ton of ideas. I want to accomplish all of them. I have things I want to be involved in. And I'm not yet willing to give any of those wants or desires up. So I just keep a real tight calendar.
More responsibility. But so if the AD calls you in 8 minutes before they're ready,
we're gonna have
shoot,
a problem.
Oh, there's going to be an issue.
Not as big as if he keeps her later
That's
by 8
true.
minutes.
Right.
Getting home to my kid. But also though, there are ways I get around that. Like I haven't taken work outside of Los Angeles since my kids were born. Well, that's not true. I did Bad Moms in Atlanta, New Orleans. But beyond that, I tell my agent, like, don't pick up the phone and call me. I don't want to go to New Zealand. I don't care who's on the other end of the call. I don't want to go to Atlanta. I want to be with my family. My number one priority is being there for them. So I don't even allow myself to have fantasies about being involved creatively with something that doesn't take place in LA. And then like when we met on The Good Place, I think you and I had a similar conversation with Mike. We were like, we are here for this. And also my youngest was, when we started, 18 months. Delta was 18 months. And I said, I've been waiting for a phone call from Mike Schur my whole life, but I will not sacrifice her upbringing for this. So as long as we're going to be like in the midst of a kind of French hour situation, which is 10 hours, I can do it. But if you think you're going to shoot super long, and he said, we can accomplish that. Let's find the right DP. And then I wrangled, bless David Miller. Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. Got us home on time.
Can I interject here about French hours?
Yeah.
The French never worked those hours. I just want to say it's odd they call it French hours.
Weird.
The French don't work that. The French have an hour lunch and drink wine, and then they go back to, and that's
the
not,
opposite.
it's not French hours. I'm just, everything you said, I listened to, but I just had to.
I'm glad that you corrected
That's always bothered me.
What do you think about my work since you've seen the last? All right, never mind.
Edward, you know that your work is my favorite work. And I'll tell Woody a story that I don't know if you've mentioned, but when binging first started, like streamers, my husband and I, prior to having kids, one of the first shows we binged was Damages.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, what a ride.
Yeah.
Whoa. And the entire first season, they're talking about Arthur Frobisher, the Frobisher case. Is he guilty? Is he not? The Frobisher case. They kept saying this word Frobisher. Dax and I were obsessed with it. And so we decided to change our mailing address to Holly and Arthur Frobisher. So for years before I met Ted, I got mail to my house. We got mail to our house as Holly and Arthur Frobisher. Okay. And then when we were both in the movie Big Miracle.
It ended up, yeah.
That was the final title.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we met in the lobby?
Yeah. No, you told me the story. Oh, maybe I missed that. I remember coming up to a dinner that you were having with the producers, and I kind of walked in, and vice versa. I was having the dinner. You walked in, you had just arrived, and told me that story. That's when I remember it. Did we meet in the lobby?
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Wow.
That's sad but true.
I'm uncomfortable right now.
What happened was you were checking in, and I got really excited. And I walked up to you, and I was sitting in the lobby. I walked up to you and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Danson. Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm playing whoever I played in the movie. And I'm so excited to meet you. And just, this is funny. I'm checked into this hotel as Holly Frobisher." I thought that was going to be so cute. And you were like, you did that thing that you do that I've seen you do with other people who come up to you, where you're still, you give so much grace to people that come up and say hi to you.
He forced a smile.
Like, I go, hey.
100%. And he kind of disassociates, and he just, you can see this light go on in the back of his head that's a little bit like, safety, 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 safety. Where is it? Because this person is not it. And then you got into the elevator, and I was like, damn it. Damn it.
Shoot.
But then, look at us now.
Oh, man. Madly in love with you.
Madly.
Kristen Bell. Madly in love.
I get it. I think it's a good time to say that Mary sends all her love to you, because it's true.
Mary and I have been texting a lot lately. She's been helping me with summer plans, and she's been lovely. She texts back a lot faster than you do.
Yeah, and writes in complete sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, when they say better half, doesn't it seem like better 2/3 or 3/4 or something?
Mary is really, really something. And when we've ever dined together, we've noticed, because Mary definitely, she has this air of knowing usually what she wants, but definitely being able to articulate it and say it. She doesn't have like a fear of major conflict or anything. And so Ted and I are always so nervous about
We're ducking under the table.
everything.
Going, Can you believe Dax and Mary are talking about this?
Did the waiter like us? I don't know. I don't know. And Mary and Dax are so confident, and so it does feel like we have a parallel relationship.
Yeah, we do.
And the other night, oh my gosh. So Dax just interviewed Jane Fonda. And almost ran away with her. I mean, he came home like walking on sunshine. He was like, I swear to God, Kristen, if you weren't around, I'd spend the rest of my life with her. And I was like, I would do. I mean, of course.
Yeah, me
Jane
too.
Fonda.
I'm the same way. Mary and she are great friends, but she changed my life.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. So in anticipation of that movie, because book club, the next chapter was coming out. It was like 4 days before he interviewed her. The girls and I were sitting on the couch, like, what to watch? And Dax had just mentioned he was interviewing Jane. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's watch book club. My daughters are 8 and 10. From the poster, I think this can be cute. They're all going to eat, pray, love. This is going to be so cute. They're going to find themselves. The plot line of the movie is 100% sex.
Yeah, the first book club.
I had so much explaining to do to my daughters because the plot line of the first one is that they are reading
50 Shades
of Grey, and they are coming online, these women, right? And one is on Candace on a dating profile, and there's so much sex talk in a great way, like in a very like female positive. Maybe not the movie I would have chosen for my 8 and 10-year-old, simply because there's so many questions to answer. The amount of times we had to pause this movie and I had to explain what words meant.
Mom's planning.
Big time. And then cut to, they loved it. We watched it that night. Dax interviewed Jane. We're driving home from school. They see a poster for the second one. They're like, oh my God,
how
book
wonderful.
club, the next chapter. That's such a cute pun. We're going to watch it. So they're like in the franchise now.
I'm going to send an audiobook of 50 Shades of Grey to your kids.
To my daughters. They'll love it.
So you met Dax in 2007. I got a little man crush on your hubby. He's fantastic.
Get in line.
Yeah, get in line.
Tell me about it.
He's incredible. But so you guys met 2007. What was the circumstances?
Shauna Robertson.
Shauna.
Wow.
She introduced us.
She is like the center of the universe.
Yeah.
She's like that 6 degrees, 3, whatever degrees
you
of
got it.
separation.
Well, she's a good friend. Like, I feel like that should be said on her tombstone. She is like a good, nurturing friend. She's just there for people. So Shauna had produced Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
I saw you there.
Jason
Maybe it was
Segel,
there.
you were in
From
Hawaii.
a distance, but I went to the set. Anyway, go ahead.
okay. So Shauna produced Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Shauna had also had a ton of interaction. I can't remember how, just the comedy world with Dax. And they were very close because at one point Dax had to have like a little kitchen renovation. So he stayed at Shauna's for like 2 months or something. They were very close. And at Shauna's birthday party in 2004, it must have been 2004? Yeah. She had it at a little sushi restaurant on Melrose, and there were like 8 or 9 of us there. And it was like, I didn't know, well, I knew Jonah. Jonah was there, but I didn't know anybody else. And all I remember from that night was that guy from Jackass talks so much. Whoa, he's chatty. And he didn't know who I was either. And obviously he was not on Jackass, he was on Punk'd, but I didn't know that at the time because, and then we had no chemistry that night.
But you did feel he's a handsome guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, he's
I think that's important to say that. You didn't just think, oh, he's chatty.
Yeah.
He's handsome and chatty.
Of course. Well, he has a
manliness about him.
Yes, he has a presence.
A virility.
A protectiveness. And he's very broad shoulders. He's like a upside down triangle.
Yeah.
But my main takeaway was that he was chatty. And
was this sober Dax or?
This was sober Dax. Oh yeah, he was
so
sober
you
when
got
I met him.
Full blown magical Dax.
Well,
come on.
There's something in sobriety that I'll say as a person
witness.
a witness who has a qualifier. that the first 5 years are a little bit different than the rest.
Yeah.
And I remember we went to therapy a lot our first and second year because we're both really stubborn and stubborn. We're both very
Enjoy.
You mean like
your
couples
opinion.
therapy?
yeah, couples therapy
In
right
your
off the
first
bat.
5 years, you were going to...
For 6 months.
What?
For 6 months.
I've
for
never
sure.
heard. I've only heard of people together, 11 years. Let's do the couples therapy.
Well, I think what happened, so if I'll finish the meeting story. So after the Shauna dinner, we then met up at a Kings game. We were both at a Kings Red Wings game, hockey, because we both are from Detroit. We
Separately.
Separately. He was, funny enough, do you want me to get real vulnerable?
Yeah.
I had just gotten out of a relationship. I was fresh on the scene. I was ready to mingle. He was with my friend Michael, another mutual. And I saw Michael at the hockey game and I was like, okay, we're back. And I was like, tonight.
After Michael or Dax?
After Michael.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like, great. I didn't really know Dax.
Oh, I thought you... Okay.
So, but I knew Michael and I was like, all right, we're back on the, we're single. We haven't been single in years. This is going to be great. I'm going to go over and flirt with Michael. Thank God, Michael, because it, made the rest of my life. Michael had something else to do and was talking to someone else. And Dax came up to me and I was like, oh, you were at Shauna's dinner. And he was like, yeah, that's right. I remember you vaguely. And
you're like, you're the chatty one.
yeah. And he was like, you were the girl that was bragging about something you just got from Target, which I was. Like I had gotten some really good deal that night. I don't know. I like coupons. And then we started talking, and again, I was open to mingling. And I was chewing gum, and he said, "Do you have any more gum?" And I said, "No, just this." And I kind of like coyly took it out of my mouth like this.
Oh, nice.
And
nice move.
He grabbed it from me, and he goes, "I'll take it." And then he put it in his mouth, and I was like, "This guy wants to fuck me."
It's on.
Oh, I wish I hadn't taken Woody's gum out of his mouth.
But that was, and then truly beyond that, I was absolutely smitten because there's so much to Dax Shepard. Like he's so much deeper of a well than anyone realizes. Yeah. He's so protective. He's so loyal. He's such a wordsmith. He's so curious. He's constantly researching things. He's got new perspectives. He's challenging himself. He's self-critical. He makes easy amends. Like there's every discovery I make about him is just more and more impressive. So I was smitten with him right off the bat. And as evidenced by our experience in the lobby, maybe in the beginning, he was like, whoa.
Really?
Whoa.
Will he cop up to that? Is that his side of the story?
I can't see any guy going, whoa to you. I don't care what's going on. I can't see that happen.
I appreciate that. But here's another great thing about Dax Shepard, that he knew that he was new to the dating scene as well. He had gotten out of a relationship when we met. We were both in the same situation. He was dating people. He was going on dates. We started hanging out, and I, like a light switch, went, this is it for me. I can't imagine. I just want to keep going deeper and deeper into this person. It's so fun. He's so fun to be around. And he was still like going on dates with people, and he could sense that I was monogamous, or however you want to say it, that I wanted just him. And He wasn't ready to make that statement yet. Mind you, we were a month in, 2 months in. So it wasn't like was dating people for years.
Right.
And so he said, I think we need to take this a little slower. I think we should break up for now because I can tell that you're into this, and I'm still sort of looking around. And
that must have been
devastating. Yeah. I was devastated. But I said, you know what? There's nothing I could respect more than someone who has the authenticity in their heart to say that honestly to someone else and not just keep dating me and then other people. Because he could have.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I wasn't like, I'm not a person who goes through someone's phone. I didn't think he was dating other people, but he knew that. And he's very protective and good to the women in his life. Like his respect for me, his mom, his sister. You guys, if anybody messes with me or his mom or his sister, good fucking luck. That's all I have to say.
See, that's Mary.
Yeah.
That's Mary. She'll rip your heart out if you go for someone she loves.
Whoa. Yeah.
I've never seen her angry, by the way. Pretty serious.
Yeah, cutting.
Wow.
And truthful. Anyway.
So then what was the transition from after that? What happened?
Well, this is where I get a little arrogant. It was 4 days later.
Damn.
And he called me and he said, hey, I think in the 4 days he had gone on a different date. And he said that he had been sitting there with another girl and just going, what am I doing? What am I doing? She's here. I've got her. I just wasn't able to say it at the time. And he called me 4 days later and he said, I made a big mistake. I'd like to try again. And I'd like to go for this with you. And I was like, oh, well. And I think that what I had said I said to my therapist at the time, because I had told him this story, I'm in my 20s and I'm crying to my therapist in Hollywood about my dating life. And the first thing he said to me was, that's a really good guy who does something like that, who says to you, I can tell that you're in this to win this. I'm not there yet. I don't want to disrespect you. But my therapist also said, well, if he comes back, let him earn it.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I did.
So this is your therapist who gave you this advice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who was also our couples therapist.
And then how did you go about letting them earn it?
Well, what had happened was it was around like November, and he had gotten a phone call that was like, do you want to go to someplace in the Bahamas for New Year's, right? And it was one of those things they used to do where you're like, go to this party and we'll cover the cost for your hotel. And he was like, oh, that'd be great. And he said to me, hey, I got this thing. We can go to the Bahamas I got this call. We can go to the Bahamas for New Year's. And I was like, oh, cool. And I was just very ambiguous about it. And then he mentioned it like 2 or 3 more times, like, I want to book those flights for Bahamas. And I said, I think you should go.
Ooh.
And I think he kind of brushed that off, like, what is she talking about? And that happened like 3 or 4 more times.
But hold it. Did you end up going or not?
Yeah, I'm going to get there. And
sorry.
finally he said, look, I don't know what, are we going to the Bahamas for New Year's or not? I want to, we got to make the flights. And I said, if you would like to take me to the Bahamas for New Year's, you can ask. Because he had simply been assuming since we got back together that we were just going on this trip he was invited to. And I wanted something formal. I thought that was my way.
Yes.
So he said, would you like to come to the Bahamas with me for New Year's? I'd love to take you. And I said, yes, I would. And that was really the extent of me making him earn it. But for Dax,
it was a lesson learned.
That's kind of a big deal. He's not a formal person at all. So I forced him to formally ask me. And I felt very good and respected. And I felt like that's the extent of it. And then we were just lovebirds forever beyond that.
Thank God.
Wow. That's great. I love that story.
Me too.
But we're polar opposites. You know that.
I saw you in the little research thingy here, how you have been quoted saying we are exact opposites.
Yeah. Well, he likes to explain it where if we're walking down the street and someone passes us, my first thought is, that might be the person that cures cancer. And his first thought is, that guy might have stolen my wallet. And we were born those people. I grew up with a lot of sheep. He grew up with a lot of wolves. Sheep? Yeah. He grew up with a lot of wolves. And we act accordingly.
Yeah.
But that's why we know to meet in the middle.
It's true that you and I do hide under the table while Mary and Dax talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. I'm very much that way. Okay. You to me are like sparkling. Anything you want, you go get. I don't know if that's really true, but you are so positive and you do so many things. What are your dreams that you haven't realized yet? Do you have dreams or?
I think becoming more artistic for the sake of my own gut instincts or intuition is something I've been wanting to explore, because I do feel like I have for a very, very long time, a lot, like, I don't know how you guys feel if you're choosy with your projects. I feel like there have been very few things I've said no to. If it's come up and I've booked it, I've done it. And that's why my resume looks like an EKG, right? So I just am sort of like, I can find the upside of this. Yeah, it's a silly script. The people are wonderful. Yeah, it's going to be a hard shoot, but it's a great script. Like I'm so optimistic that I can make any situation great. But lately I've been like painting a little bit again, and I've been really enjoying it. And so I want to find something that's kind of like just for me. And that it's not a big dream. It's a small dream. I would just want to get to know myself better, because I know I'm the type of person that is drastically impacted by the energy around me. And so I can ebb and flow with anything. But even with the amount of time I spend alone, which is a fair amount, I love alone time. I don't feel like there's a ton of self-discovery in that alone time yet.
You know, when I look at you, and one of the words that Mary taught me was a sister. You know, and some women aren't sisters. You know, they don't get along well with women, or they don't whatever. You, to me, are a sister. You love women, is my impression of you. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what do you look for in a friend?
I'm trying to articulate it.
That's a heavy,
specifically.
serious question.
It is. Well, and I want to answer it seriously. So, someone who is jovial, I guess, doesn't need to be the funniest joke writer or deliverer ever, but can see the funny in the world. Someone who doesn't mind embarrassment. I find people that take themselves very seriously might not be my people. I kind of think everything deserves to be loved and everything deserves to be made fun of. I find that's like a really comfortable lane for me.
That's great.
Oh, I'm glad.
Okay, here's another great thing in a friend. I need someone who's curious. I like someone who's curious, open to debate. Obviously, I married Dax Shepard. I mean, all we do, it's like our bedroom is a judge's chamber. Like, it's just debate after debate after debate. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I need to go to bed. His podcast was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I didn't get so much of the energy at night, because he loves to debate. He's so fueled by it. People who are not open to, I'm hesitating right now because I don't want to say just the negatives, because I kind of believe in the Brene Brown thing where if you meet someone based on something you hate, where's the depth? Like, oh, we met because we both hate Metallica or something. And then that's our relationship. No, meet someone because you love something together. Yeah. But I don't like righteousness at all. I don't like people that don't listen to others' points of view, because there's a balance to this world, and there are things you can take even from a point of view you think is so wrong. You know? So curiousness, comedy, and an ease of friendship. I think with...
Yes, meaning why haven't you called me is not a good friend.
Yeah, you don't want the energy vampires.
That's going to get you blocked in my phone before anything is why haven't you called or texted. Like my friends, the ones I've kept close and the ones that I thrive with are like ones that we could go every day for 6 months and then not a single day for 6 months. And then when we start again, it's exactly like it was.
Just want to reach over there and squeeze you like I did.
We haven't talked in a minute, but we used to Marco Polo a lot.
That's true.
We fell off of Marco Polo. I like seeing your face.
I offended a couple of times. But there's a great app where you take a video of yourself and talk to people and then hit it and boom, it goes to their phone. So it's like a audio-visual text message.
It's a video text basically, but it's in an app. So you're sending video. So rather than taking a video and going, hey, Woody, it's Kristen, here's the thing for today, and then sending it.
Let me explain something about Woody. He doesn't have a phone.
Oh.
He's one of those bullies in life that make other people carry his phone for him.
Well, now that's not exactly true.
Hey, we need to know something immediately. Call Woody. And I just kind of laugh at whoever says that to me.
Well,
So
I
he's
don't
not-
really,
you're
I
not
just
phone.
don't like to have, to be readily available to any human being
I hear
at
that.
any time,
It doesn't feel good.
No, and plus, but that's not the reason. I like to be in touch with people in a way, but I don't like the appendage on my appendage.
Yeah.
Like where, I made a thing where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna set a 2-hour limit on my phone because I've given it up now 3.5 years, but back then I was like, okay, I'm gonna set this limit, 2 hours. It's like 9:30. Meh. I've already hit my limit at like 9:30. So I woke up and I've been on it 2 hours already.
Yeah.
Because you know how it can just keep going and going. There's no
Is
end
this like
to it.
phone calls or it's
No. I never used it as a phone ever.
just for texting or apps or
Yeah, texting and I don't know about apps, but texting and also,
emails,
whatever.
Mhm.
So, I just finally, I wanted to be able to be like if I were out to dinner with you, right? And there's just a lull in the conversation. Oh, I'm on the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I look, I'm back down to the device and it's,
yeah.
But I think once you recognize that, it reshapes, at least it did for me, my whole perspective. And I think my kids had a lot to do with that too, where I realized they were talking to me, and my kids are also very like emotionally articulate. So if I'd be checking something, even if it would be the most valid thing ever, like, oh, her jiu-jitsu class is changing times tomorrow, I need to tell the other moms, whatever, like a valid thing. And one of my kids would look at me and go, I just feel like you're disconnected. I don't have your whole attention, Mom. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like,
What a healthy comment.
I
It's
love that.
wild. They're
These
like,
kids.
they are, yesterday Delta said they had gotten into a fight about something. Their reset time is getting astoundingly quick. So they were fighting about something. Delta's the younger one. She had said something to the older one that made her cry. And the older one runs out of the room crying. And Delta sits there and squeezes her eyes shut. And within 2 seconds, she went, ugh, I just bullied my sister. I tried to make her feel small because I wanted to feel big.
Wow.
I should not have done that. And I looked at her and I looked to Dax because we weren't like paying attention to this fight they were having. I looked at Dax and then Delta ran out of the room to go apologize to her sister. And Dax looked at me and he was like, I don't think we've ever said an apology that clear and concise to each other in the 15 years we've been married.
Unbelievable. That's
wildly impressive.
But
How
the-
old?
8.
Delta?
8.
8.
Yeah,
That's
but
unbelievable.
they will call me on it. And it has actually made me voluntarily, like I almost feel like I'm over the hump of addiction with my phone, because when they get home from school, I do put it down. I put it like upstairs. It's not in my ether when we're bopping around the house at night. And I feel I really enjoy being less connected to it. It's such a trick.
Yeah, I admire what you do with phones, by the way, Woody. I need to emulate that more.
Eschew them. Hey, I wanted to ask you about that jiu-jitsu thing.
Yeah,
because,
me too, by the way.
Yeah,
We're all
yeah.
into jiu-jitsu.
I started doing jiu-jitsu with my daughter, but then I got injured, not from that, from something else. And then, I got out of it for a while and then she stopped doing it. But that's such a great thing. Because it's nice to know the jiu-jitsu. Like one of the worst things you can imagine is someone being on top of you.
On the mount.
And yet, but
I can get out of it.
No problem.
Not a
problem. Hop on.
In
and
fact,
I'll break your arm.
Take the mount.
Preferable.
Yeah.
And in 3 moves, I'll have you in an arm bar and I can snap your elbow.
Yeah.
I could break your arm.
Yeah.
Edward, I could break your arm.
Can you
I know.
you kick me in the nose and break my nose?
We're
that's
just
not
starting
jiu-jitsu.
to re-break it. We're starting to work. No, push kicks are jujitsu, but they're more.
But that's a pain compliance holds.
Yes, they're also, jujitsu is so about defense and de-escalation. So where were you taking jujitsu?
That was in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they're, the Gracie family.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that we're,
Brazilian.
yeah. So they sort of invented jujitsu. Hoist Gracie holds the record for, I think his fight was like 39 hours or something. But they invented this style of connection distance leverage where you can be small and use the connection between your body and the other person's, your body and the ground, the leverage you have and the distance between that you're holding, whether it's close or far. Because a lot of times jiu-jitsu is counterintuitive, where if you come to attack me, all I want to do is get you as close as possible to my body, because then you can't hit me in the face. So the granddaughter, Cecilina Gracie, is who teaches us.
Wow.
And she is the closest thing to Wonder Woman walking around I've ever seen. She's like 6 feet tall. She's a 12.
Brazilian?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first class, because we do it with moms and daughters. So it's 3 moms, 3 daughters. And the first class is all about posture of the champion. You tie a string around your heart and you lift it up. And the first class is all about using your voice. That's your first line of defense for anything. I don't like that. I don't like that game. And then you use these hand signals. She teaches you how to get out of hugs. And now we've been taking for a year and a half or so. A lot of the lessons are about de-escalation, never giving someone your back, maintaining that you're asking them throughout the fight if they were to attack you. Are you going to stop? Are you going to stop? And if they say no, you know you need to go one step further. But
Snap.
Yeah. Bingo. But we've learned chokes. I mean, my 10-year-old, like they passed their second belt and she was like, we're ready for a choke. All the little girls started crying because this day and age, it's like very scary. But she spoke to them about it. She said, it's like 6 to 9 seconds when someone passes out. Here's how you do it. We're going to talk about it with your moms first. She enlightens them in a way that
empowers them.
Oh, it's wild.
Wild.
And it's so fun. And now we've taken for like a year and a half. We've all gone up a stripe on our belt, and I love it.
Wow.
I love it. And now we spar.
Yeah.
Which is really wild.
It is wild, especially if you start on the ground. If you spar and you're up, you can get hurt if you're not pretty good at it.
Yeah. Well, there's different, like also releases, like depending on how they grab you. But then there's like I could take someone down. If someone were to grab me, I could take them down and mount them in an instant. Like I feel really confident. I don't know that I could win the jiu-jitsu fight, but that's called the osotogari, where you're wrapping your leg around. And I know, I know that in muscle memory. So I'm starting to like apply all of these things she's taught us to complete muscle memory, so that if I ever get attacked, it's lights out.
It was so much fun. I had a trainer who is Brazilian and was good at all of it. And he worked with Jean-Jacques. I can't remember his last name. I'm sure the Gracie family. If you ask about
Jean-Jacques Rousseau?
No.
I tried.
But it was the most fun I ever had, you know?
Yeah.
And to feel when you're in the midst of it, to feel, oh, if I do this, it will lead to that, and then I'm screwed. And, you know.
And how to pivot.
Yeah.
It's almost.
And I also love tapping. That's a big thing. You tap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When you need to tap
you
out.
could hurt me now, and you tap. That's what life needs. You need to be able to tap out.
That's true.
In
That's
life.
because everybody has different thresholds, right?
Yeah.
So if someone taps, you know they're a little bit more sensitive.
Oh, can I ask you guys a question on this score?
Yeah.
You're talking about we need tapping in life, but also like suppose you had like a little device, you know, like your remote, like you have for your TV.
Right.
And you have a little button where you could just vaporize a person. Like
100%.
You know, now no one's gonna even know that it had anything to do with you. It's not like a bullet where they can trace, but you know, no trace. You vaporize, but they're gone. Yeah. They're just not on the earth anymore. Would you find yourself ever using that?
I'm not sure. Probably not, Woody.
No, I'm
Can
not
we
saying,
talk afterwards,
I know it
Woody?
sounds weird. Oh,
No, it
okay.
doesn't
Now
sound
I'm a weirdo sinister.
No. It's a great question.
Okay.
It is a great question. Answer
Kristen,
it. You're our guest.
It's a great question because I have a very utilitarian outlook on the world. I find that to be like my gut instinct. So to vaporize someone, asking a follow-up, they then vaporize in relation to the rest of their family, right? Their family doesn't know where they are.
They're gone from the earth.
They're gone from the earth. So they don't come home that night and their mother worries.
Ever.
Couldn't vaporize them then. What I will do is go ahead and buy that remote from you if there's a mute button. I would mute everyone. Mute. Everyone.
I love that.
Woody, I have something like that.
I've done that with people. Mute.
Mute.
And then
Enough.
it's like, are your ears just ornamental or do you ever actually? But what?
I have something like that serves me well, and I do it on a daily basis. It's a little bizarre, but if I have a fantasy that goes bad in my head and all of a sudden it's violent, I will implement this. If there's a real situation that happened and I can't let it go, I will or a person, it's my way of vaporizing. I will eat it. I will eat that image, that fantasy, that thought. I will chew on it. I will digest it. This takes about 2 seconds. And then I fart it out. Fart out that whole bad incident. And the process of eating a bad incident and then farting it out is so satisfying. First off, it makes you laugh because it's really stupid. And it's gone. I can literally get rid of all my bad feelings about somebody or some moment by farting.
So there's a little bit of
them
vaporization
out.
going
Yes,
on.
that's
in
why
what
I thought
you're-
about
Really
it.
new meaning
yeah.
to silent but deadly.
Wow. That's impressive.
I
Try
like
it.
that.
You try it. It's great.
I like all
Fart
those
it
tips
out.
and
Yeah,
tricks.
thank you.
Those like little mental tips and tricks you
Yeah.
do for yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll try it.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
fart someone out. I'm going to fart you out as soon as I leave.
Couple of questions. Do you sing at home on your own?
If I'm not silenced, yeah. My kids have no respect
Yeah.
for me or
Because Delta is a little Ethel Merman in the making, if I remember.
oh yeah. Well, we call her Shirley Farley. She's a perfect combination of if Chris Farley and Shirley Temple had a baby. That's what she is. The comedy, everything you're picturing is that. So they both like to sing, but it's been a very long time since they've ever let me sing around them or like sing them to sleep. They just find it nauseating.
But when a job
Really?
comes your way,
And I would say, fine, well, you can't afford it anyway. So
you love to sing though. If you
Love.
get paid to go sing someplace, you're on it.
yes, and I'll do it when I'm not paid. I love it so much. That's why I sang when Mary writes. I've laid
Yeah.
down some tracks for Mary when
You
she
have.
writes, and I love it. I'm in a different world. There's a different level of my brain that is activated, and things make sense when there's a musical element to them.
That's great.
Hey, so can I ask you, I wanted to ask you about, because I was so pissed that I missed the Crucible that you did with Liam and Laura Linney. So what was that like, that experience?
Age what?
Was it intense?
Very. Age 19 or 20? I want to say 20 maybe. It was the most heightened excitement I had experienced at that age. Like, oh my gosh, I booked this Broadway show and it happens to star these two people who I think are doing some of the best work out there. And I had just left NYU at the time, so I was very, very into like, all Langston Hughes and all sorts of like a ton of playwrights and really studying. And it was nerve-wracking. I met one of my best friends of all time, Jennifer Carpenter, who, I don't know if you guys saw Dexter. She was on Dexter forever. She's there were 5 of us girls, and it was an 8-month contract. And usually in New York, it has to be a year, but I think Liam and Laura had said 8 months. It was exhausting.
Were you Abigail?
No, I was Susanna, and I understudied Mary Warren. Jennifer was Mary Warren. So it was exhausting because the girls' parts in that show are so frantic. So there was this energy that I had to carry around with me during the show and on stage, that even if I wasn't moving or talking, I had to appear like I was about to bubble over. And then in the second act, we all had to go crazy, basically. And I remember like, I have this fear of eye drops now because I prior to the second act, we'd have to go out on stage during the witch trial, and we're all looking up at the lights and pretending like we're being exercised, and we'd our eyes were so exhausted from looking up at the lights, and they'd like go along the line with all the girls and give them eye drops right before they went out, and I absolutely hated it. But I think I learned so much from the actors in that show, because it was like John Benjamin Hickey. It was like really, really experienced New York people. And Laura was so generous with us girls in her time and her advice. And then she also said, like, if you guys have any questions for me, like, she just made herself available. So it was an exhausting 8 months, but it was like a work study that I'd never known. And I remember she said, if you ever get into film and TV, the number one thing you need to remember is you need to learn every camera guy's name, every lighting guy's name, and respect everyone on set, because you can fail if you don't have those friendships. Like, you can do the best acting work in the world, and if you're not lit, nobody cares.
Right.
So have respect for those around you, and
they're your audience.
Yeah.
Why would you?
And they're your team.
Yeah, yeah.
It was wonderful, but exhausting.
Well, yeah, I envy you that experience. I bet, yeah.
Because it was heavy play.
Yeah,
heavy play. More weight, yeah.
Who was I talking to recently? He's going to do they're going to do Long Day's Journey into Night. I can't remember who it was, but I'm like, why?
I think do you find in your older age, you keep asking why? Because now I'm like, if I'm not going to be laughing on set and I'm going to be home by dinner, I don't really care. Oh my God, am I not an actor anymore? Do I not?
I know.
That's why I'm looking for other creative outlets, because I don't have the fire I used to have about finding the depth and darkness of a character. I'm just like, I like really want to go home and, do a puzzle and play Uno with my kids. Like I
like my pillow.
Yeah, me too.
I like the bedding we sleep on.
Some of the heavy stuff, I really do have a lot of admiration for the actors that take it on and live in that for months at a time.
Me too. I don't know if I'm that person.
Yeah.
And I have guilt, a little from all the theater training and all the actors I respect. Not guilt, but I do question myself.
But there's a place for everyone, I guess. So like,
a good
give
place.
us the light, a good place. Give us the light stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever find you were a person that wanted the heaviness, like to take on a really like
Damages?
In the beginning, but Damages was funny. It's funny to be such a narcissist. You don't realize there's a giant woman called Glenn Close that's about to lop your head off. Anyway. Okay, enough about us. I love you so much, and thank you for coming in and talking to us.
I'm so happy I got to see you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
You asked about whatever you asked about, but what came to my mind was this podcast. I am loving sitting, talking to people, and getting to know them. I'm getting to know more about you because we were there to do a job together. So you chat, you give a hug, and you admire and you love, and you let that person know it, and then you go to work. Mm-hmm. It's fun to, know more about you and talk
Sit here and talk to you instead of bringing you your apples and peanut butter.
No, that was good. That was better.
Well, it has really been a joy getting to hang out with you. I think you're awesome. You're a fantastic actress, but the way you're living your life and raising your kids and schooling your husband, I really want to, I tip my hats off to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, although it's
this
actually
is fun.
on.
This was fun, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.